You work at a job for years, and what do you get? Sometimes nothing. But if you want a guaranteed pension at the end of your career, then keep watching. A pension is a powerful benefit because it entitles you to a guaranteed check for the rest of your life without worrying about stock market performance. There was a time where many private companies would give their employees pensions, but that time is long gone. To find pensions these days, oftentimes you have to shift your sights away from the private sector and look at the public sector. The first employer on this list is the state government. There are roughly 16 million state and local government employees. Looking at 3 random states, you see you are fully vested in Virginia after 5 years, Florida 8 years, and Texas 10 years. The earliest age to receive payments start at 60 years old in Virginia, 65 in Florida, and 62 in Texas. This is an example of how the pension can be calculated. Also, the average pension amount per year in Virginia is $19,000, in Florida $18,000, and in Texas $20,000 a year. State governments hire a lot of administrative positions, but that's not it. They also hire engineers. They hire medical professionals. Pretty much any type of occupation you can imagine, your state government is hiring for. And the best way to search and start applying for these jobs is a Google search of your state plus government jobs, like I'm doing right now. And then once you find the right website, you can begin to create an account and start applying for these jobs. The next up is the federal government. There are roughly 2.1 million federal employees. You are fully vested in a pension after just 5 years, and payments usually start either when you turn 57, 60, or 62 years old. The pension is calculated by taking your high 3 salary times years of service and times the multiplier. The average pension after 20 years in Washington, D.C. is $28,000 a year for a GS-13. $30,000 a year for a GS-14, and $34,000 a year for a GS-15. The actual amount of your pension will largely depend on where you're located. If you are working in Washington, D.C. or San Francisco, one of the larger cities, your pension will end up being more. If you find yourself in a small rural town, then you will be getting paid less, and as a result, your pension will be less. If you're watching this and you're interested in working for the federal government, then check out the course link in the description below. Next is the military. There are currently 1.4 million military service members. You are fully vested at 20 years, sometimes 15 years. This means that you can get your pension as early as 37 years old. Under the blended retirement system, you will get 40% of your base pay after 20 years. The average 20-year pension amount for an E7 is $28,000 a year, an E8 $30,000, an 04 $45,000, and an 05 $58,000 a year. It's worth noting that only about 20% of the people that enter the military actually stay in 20 years or more to get that guaranteed pension. The military can be a physically demanding and a stressful career choice, and it's definitely not for everybody. Speaking of stressful, the next on this list are police officers. And I will be picking 3 random large cities to do this comparison. There are over 800,000 police officers in the country. You're fully vested in New York City after 5 years. Austin, Texas, 10 years, and Chicago, 10 years. And when do the payments start? Well, in New York City, after 20 years, regardless of age. In Austin, Texas, it's after 23 years of service. And in Chicago, once you turn 50 years old. The average pension amount per year in New York City is $86,000 a year. $60,000 in Austin, Texas, and $60,000 in Chicago. Police officer pensions are similar to the military in which people can get their pension earlier. They do not have to wait until they're 62 or 65. However, based on the city that you pick as a police officer, this can be an incredibly dangerous career. Next is utility companies. Now, this kind of surprised me when I was doing my research, but over 50% of the utility companies do offer their employees a pension. About 675,000 people work for utility companies. And I'm looking at 2 today. First, Pacific Gas and Electric. Second, ExxonMobil. In Pacific Gas and Electric, you are vested after 5 years and can receive payments when you are 55 years old. ExxonMobil vested after 5 years and you start collecting payments at 50 years old. And the average pension amount per year for Pacific Gas and Electric is $32,000 a year. ExxonMobil, $25,000 a year. When ranking these pensions, I considered the total amount of the pension and also the availability of the positions. And here are the rankings. Number 1, police officer. This is mainly because it has the highest pension amounts. Number 2, military, because you can start collecting these checks as early as 37 years old. Number 3, the federal government. I found this to have the greatest opportunity and the ability to move around not just the country, but also the world. Number 4, state government. This is a big opportunity depending on what state you live in. And 5, utility company. Now, obviously, not everyone can join the military. Not everyone can be a police officer. This can be because of health or physical limitations or age limitations. However, most people watching this can work for the state and federal government. And if you would like to know just how hard it is to get a federal government job, then check out this video next. If you'd like to see more videos like this, please click like and subscribe. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.